Let's say good morning to Ken Rosenthal, leading the league in information this morning. The big names are starting to fall off the free agent availability board, Kenny. Nelson Cruz going back to the Twins, which makes Minnesotans happy this morning.
As it should. Nelson Cruz, 1 year, $13 million, back to the Twins, as you mentioned that. And what was interesting here was the timing. He, of course, was a free agent all winter long. We knew of the Twins' interest. We knew of his interest in the Twins. But with the uncertainty regarding the universal DH, he lingered on the market because he wanted to see if the National League would be in play. And he had interest from the National League. And two teams that intrigued him in particular were the Dodgers and the Braves.
Can you notice the new graphics?
I'm not quite sure how sincere their interest was, where they were with this whole thing, but he at least wanted to leave the possibility open. And then the other day, a couple of days ago, when negotiations between the union and MLB broke down, and it now appears that there will be no DH in the National League, at least for 2021, then the Twins and him finally came together on a one-year deal. He had initially wanted 2 years, of course, who wouldn't? But Nelson Cruz is getting up in age, still one of the most productive hitters in the game. He made $12 million last year, so this represents something of a raise. And now the Twins can get on to other business. Remember, they've been kind of held up, seeing if they're going to keep Cruz, if they're going to need to shift course to someone else. And they've lost 4 relievers in free agency: Trevor May, Sergio Romo, Tyler Clippard, and Matt Whistler. So they need some work to do, or they have some work to do in the bullpen. And they also expect to look for another starter. Their rotation is fairly set, but they could use one more veteran. Remember, they've added Jay Happ. So the Twins looking good now. Their offseason is kind of proceeding on course, and Cruz is back in the Twin Cities.
They are on cruise control.
He's been waiting to say that ever since the news broke last night.
Control. So, Ken, my question, obviously, you well documented how he had other offers out there, and this is starting to change the market around. I'm wondering about Ozuna. Because the first thing you think about is, all right, Cruz is locked up. Ozuna, how many more American League markets are there that are going to be competitive that are going to go get him?
Well, Ozuna is a little bit different than Cruz. He can play the outfield. Now, is he a great outfielder? Is he what he was in Miami? No. He, of course, had the elbow surgery, but he worked hard on his throwing last season, really, all last season, and in the camps that preceded that. He's a guy that can go out there and perhaps be an average outfielder. So he was less restricted by this DH idea, but a lot of teams, in frank candor, see him as still more of a DH than an outfielder. So where does he go? My guess, and it's an instinctive guess, it's not anything based on information, is that he ultimately ends up in Atlanta, perhaps on a lesser deal, 1 year. He, of course, wanted 4 years. There was even talk of $100 million at one point. Based on his offensive production last year, that is not a crazy ask. But the market was affected for him by the uncertainty over the universal DH. And now it will be interesting to see which teams jump in, if National League teams are willing. Now, keep in mind, guys, we don't have the DH in the National League this year, but this collective bargaining agreement expires at the end of the year, December 1st. And in the new agreement, it's fully expected there's going to be a universal DH. So if you sign Marcell Ozuna for 1 year, okay, you can resolve it then later with what the DH is going to be. But if you sign him for a multi-year deal, let's say you sign him for 3 years, most likely you're going to get him as a DH or have the availability of a DH for 2 years. So I don't know that it should be that much of a problem for clubs. You'd have to play him in the outfield 1 year if you're in the National League, assuming they don't reach an agreement on this, which I think we can assume they won't. But Marcell Ozuna still looms as a very attractive piece.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that if you're the Braves and it's a matter of bringing him back on a 2 or 3 year deal or losing him, bite the bullet, put him in the outfield for a year. The DH is coming, to your point. Yeah, and I can't imagine that lineup without him right now, especially considering the improvements around the Braves in the rest of the NL.
Yeah, but just the negotiation of this little bit we're trying to get done. There's so much uncertainty. You just don't know where the winds are going to blow. And they go, never mind, I don't want it.
And now you're talking about the players saying
or the other side saying it as well.
You better do your business now.